Do you want to boost your logic? What about raising your IQ? We have 9 perfect logic riddles that'll test your IQ and train your brain at the same time. What a great deal! Scientists discovered that solving mind games, puzzles, and short riddles is the quickest, best way to improve your analytical skills. You know, keep your brain sharp and young. If you can easily solve at least 5 of these riddles, then your IQ is about average. But if you can solve more than 5 riddles, then your IQ is definitely above average. Let's see how many riddles your brain can conquer. Hard choice. Lorraine had 2 boyfriends. Both loved her madly and decided to go on a short trip with her. She promised Jack and Charlie that by the end of the trip, she would choose one of them. Jack had a lot of money, and he could buy anything he wanted. Charlie wasn't that rich, but he loved Lorraine a lot. And at the end of the trip, Lorraine decided to check which one of her boyfriends was smarter. Lorraine told them, "The one who answers my question correctly will become the only man in my life. What has 13 hearts but no organs?" Charlie gave the correct answer immediately. What did he answer? You have just 12 seconds to answer this riddle. The answer? A deck of cards. Rich lady. A rich old lady lived in a large mansion with her family. The whole family was into medicine. Her son was a surgeon, her daughter was a dentist, and her granddaughter was a nurse. At night, someone stole $1 million from a safe in her room. The police questioned the family members. The son said, "I was called in for an emergency operation late in the evening. I spent all night in the hospital." The daughter said, "One of my patients had a stroke. I had to rush over to the hospital in the middle of the night." The granddaughter said, "I had the night shift at the ER." So who stole the money? Your 12 seconds start now. It was the daughter. She's a dentist, so she definitely wasn't called into the hospital because of a stroke. Fake. Some cafe goers heard gunfire coming from the back room. They called the police. The cafe owner arrived soon after. He found a policeman in the back room. He said he got the call and drove over right away, but since he was alone, he couldn't stop the robbers. They escaped on their motorbikes. The owner didn't believe him. Why? You have 12 seconds to answer this easy question. The answer? There was no police car near the cafe. Not so smart. Some hardcore criminals hijacked an airplane. They demanded $1 million and a private helicopter so they could fly away. Luckily, one of the criminals was a pilot. When the plane landed at the airport, the criminals got everything they wanted, the money and the helicopter. They got in the helicopter, but couldn't take off, even though they had plenty of time and the helicopter wasn't broken. So why couldn't they fly away? Just 10 seconds for another easy question. The answer? There was no fuel in the helicopter. Unprepared liar. 3 friends met up after the summer holidays. Everyone was sharing where they had been. Jane said, "I went on a cruise with my parents. We traveled all along the coast of New Zealand." Rafa said, "I went on a business trip with my mom. We lived in Latin America for a month. It was great. I even picked up a little bit of Latin." And Roger said, "Dad and I were in Austria. I learned to ski." So who's lying? Your 10 seconds starts now. The answer? It's Rafa. They speak Spanish and Portuguese in Latin America, not Latin. Latin is the language of the ancient Romans. I mean, nobody speaks it nowadays. Survival puzzle. Tina woke up one morning to find that the power was out. She went out and saw that people were panicking in the streets. The wind was picking up and some fires started. She had to choose one of 4 doors if she wanted to get into the shelter. Behind the first door are huge stones blocking her path. Behind the second are poisonous insects. Behind the third are live, high-voltage wires. Behind the fourth is a huge flood. Which door should she choose? Use your 12 seconds wisely and think carefully. The answer? Door number 3. There's no electricity, remember? So the wires won't do her any harm. Suspicious neighbor. John was found unconscious in the kitchen. A neighbor called the police. The police pulled her into John's kitchen for a short interrogation. The policeman said, "Tell us what you saw." The neighbor said, "I saw John invite a stranger into his house for some snacks." They had a nice conversation. Then he washed up the dishes. When he was done, the stranger hit him from behind and he fell. "I called you right away. I didn't see anything else." The policeman listened. Then he arrested the neighbor. Why? You have 10 seconds to spot the crucial piece of evidence. The answer? There are still a lot of dirty dishes in the sink, but the neighbor said that the stranger hit John after he finished washing them up. Tough love. Joanna told her husband she wanted to go to an archaeological site. It was run by the local university. The site was pretty remote. No internet, no phone, no nothing. She was gonna have to camp in a tent. John was really excited for her. If she was happy, he was happy. A day later, Joanne sent John a photo. John immediately realized that Joanna was lying about the whole thing. How did he know? You have 12 seconds to figure it out. The answer? She said there was no internet or cell reception. So how did she send that photo? Family ties. The police received a call. A man was found in critical condition in the park. Someone hit him on the head with a blunt object. Ouch. The police found out the man's name. It was Mark. The police found his phone, and they called the last 3 people Mark had contacted. There was John, the brother, Bill, the best friend, and of course, Sarah the wife. The police asked them what they talked about with Mark. John said, "I think Sarah did it. Mark told me that she wants to divorce him." Bill said, "I bet it was John. They both loved the park. And by the way, check this out. Mark just found out he had gotten all the family money." John was furious. Sarah said, "I knew that John was emotional, because of the inheritance. Anyway, I wasn't at the park. I went to see my divorce lawyer." Which of them is involved in this case? You have 10 seconds for this last riddle. The answer? The police didn't tell them that Mark was found in the park. So, we know that Bill and Sarah were involved in the crime. So, how many did you solve? Tell me in the comments.